Oh? You talking about my first one? The one that I already have open? Alright, here we go. So we started with Percy Jackson and Olympians, right? This is a series. So we start with the first 5 books, right? There's 5 books in this series. And the premise is that there are Greek gods and they're alive and they follow cultural hubs, right? And so in ancient Greece, that was a cultural hub, so they followed that. Then it was the Roman Empire, which I go on into more in this PowerPoint. But basically, now they're in America because America is the cultural hub, right? And so that's why they're on the top of the Empire State Building in this series, and they're a bit more modernized, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, they also fuck, and they fuck humans, and then the kids they have are the demigods. And so one example is Amelia Earhart. Canonically in this series, she's a demigod and she's a daughter of Zeus, obviously because sky, you know, blah blah blah, whatever. So then we go into the history of World War II. Canonically speaking, Hades supported Germany, and also Hitler was not canonically a child. But regardless, this was sort of an explanation for this truce that they eventually come up with, where the 3 big gods, so Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, they agree not to have any more children because their children are usually very powerful and they had a really big impact during World War II. No. Oh god. But yeah, Amelia was, yeah, canonically, according to the series, right? So basically, they agreed to not have any kids, and they swore on the river Styx. This is the river Styx. Basically, any oath sworn on the river Styx is unbreakable, and usually if you're a human or a demigod and you swear on the river Styx and you break that promise, you die. Gods can't die, so it's slightly a little different. Anyways, another thing about this universe is there are monsters, and they are born in Tartarus, which is hell, like the deepest pits of hell. I don't know how much you guys know about Greek mythology, but basically monsters come out of Tartarus and they sort of just roam around Earth, and they can sniff out demigods and hi Justin. No. Sorry, I was drawing. I just got sidetracked. Hi, how are you? No, go for it. Why? I already presented it once. I just have heard it. No. Please, I was actually meant to be drawing. It's just because my wrist hurts. It's great to get vouch. Oh, thank you, Justin. That actually means so much. You want to hear? I'll do a shorter version. You just baited me. Okay. All right. So things like cell phones and technology can amplify this is not a spoiler. This is actually necessary information for this. Hang on, don't read that. Don't read that. That was a spoiler. This series, The Heroes of Olympus, which I will be presenting this Saturday, is actually a continuation of this series. It follows right after the end of this 5th book, so this information is actually quite necessary. And I will not be presenting this PowerPoint again. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a very, very, very short recap, 1 slide long recap of the series, just so people have enough information so that I can go on to the next series, right? So anyways, cell phones and technology amplify the signal or the scent of like demigods, and they make it really easy to be hunted down, and then monsters will fight them and blah blah blah, you know. And the thing about monsters is they respawn, so once they die they go back to Tartarus, and then after a while their little dust reforms and they come back. And also instead of using cell phones because they're really bad, they instead have to use an iris message, which is Iris is a goddess of rainbows, and so they throw this old coin called a drachma into the rainbow, and then like there's like mist, and then they like it's like a hologram phone call type thing. They smell bad, confirmed. Exactly, they do. And actually, the more powerful of a parent you have, the more you smell. So we start with the main characters. We've got Percy Jackson. He's the son of Poseidon, but he doesn't know that yet. He's 12 years old and he's clueless as fuck. He is genuinely like a himbo. All right, we've got Annabeth Chase. She's a daughter of Athena, and she's 12 years old. She's been in, well, You don't know what the camp is yet. Then there's there's Chiron, he's a history teacher, and there's Grover, and he's Percy's best friend, except there's a plot twist, and it's that Chiron is actually a centaur, and he's the camp director. So there's Camp Half-Blood. Yes, they start as children, the movies fucked it up, and they casted people who are a bit older, but they're actually kids. It's really interesting. So Chiron is the camp director of this camp called Camp Half-Blood, and Camp Half-Blood is basically like for demigods, because they need slightly different education, slightly different protection, because monsters hunt them down, blah, blah, blah. Grover is a satyr, and so he's got goat legs, and satyrs' roles are to protect kids, guide them to the camp, blah, 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 stuff like that. So we start with the Lightning Thief, which is the first book. Percy, 12, Grover, 12. I don't know why he has, I don't know why, they're supposed to be 12, okay? The movies suck, on God. And so he's got a history teacher, and his name is Mr. B or something, but it's Chiron. And he's basically like, you need to learn about ancient Greece, blah, blah, blah. And also, Percy has ADHD and dyslexia, both very, very, very common traits of all Half-Bloods. Is this a musical? No, I don't think so. Anyways, so then he has a math teacher who turns out to be this fucking fury, and she's like, I'm gonna kill you, haha, and then, Chiron's like, here, I'm gonna throw a pen at you, and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, and then he uncups the pen, and then it turns into a sword, and he's like, holy fucking shit, and he kills his math teacher. And also the sword is called Anaklusmos, I don't know, it basically translates to Riptide, and he realizes that he can read the Greek on the pen, and it's because of his dyslexia, right? So the explanation for why demigods have dyslexia is because their brains are hardwired to read ancient Greece. The reason they have ADHD, explained later on, basically gives them extra, combat, whatever, knowledge. Anyways, so no more math, right? And then he gets gaslit by everybody, including Grover, his best friend, including Chiron, his teacher. Basically, they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? There was no, teacher who turned into a fucking bat-winged lady. You're crazy. And he's like, what the fuck? No way. Anyways, and then we are you coming? No, I've never fought anyone in my life. Anyway, so Sally Jackson is his mother on the left, and she is married to this stinky asshole named Gabe, and he's really abusive and crappy and awful. And Percy's like, I don't know why you're married to him, blah, blah, whatever. Anyways, and she takes him to this little beach house, and she's like, let's just get away for a bit. They like the ocean. Every plot point. Yes, it does. He was in the song. Interesting. Okay, anyways, so then at the beach house, they get attacked by the Minotaur, which is a half bull, half human, and he's trying to kill them, and Grover shows up suddenly, and basically he tells Percy about the camp, and he tells him, you're a demigod, and that all the gods are real, and then we have a quick interlude basically explaining what the mist is. So the mist is how they hide the existence of monsters and blah, blah, blah from humans, because obviously they're gonna be like, what the fuck is this Minotaur? So it's essentially really strong magic that sort of makes it so that monsters appear as natural disasters or as really weird dogs or something like that, right? And so this was a more timely explanation back in the day. This had happened quite recently. There was an exploded gas leak. And so I made this really funny tweet where it's basically like, I hope Percy Jackson and his gang have a really good time fighting the monster from hell that's causing the ocean to be on fire. It's really funny because we perceive it as a gas leak, but in reality, there's a monster. That's how the mist works. We're all humans. Yeah, blah, blah. Anyways, so Percy's mom gets fucking murdered and she turns into gold powder and she disappears. And Percy passes the fuck out after he fucking kills the Minotaur. And then he gets dragged into camp. So this is Camp Half-Blood. There's a tree that has a magical border. Once they pass that, no monsters can pass. The problem is humans can't either, so it's only demigods and, satyrs and blah, 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 who can get past. Anyway, so he's like passed the fuck out, and he needs nectar and ambrosia, which is basically like a chug jug from Fortnite. The dead girl, hold on. You're skipping ahead. Someone honk please. No. Okay, so nectar and ambrosia is like this godly sort of like food that heals them, but if you eat too much, you die, so Anyways, and then there's this guy, Dionysus. He's the camp director, Mr. D. He's camp director by punishment. And so he's, you know, not really chuffed to be there, blah, blah, whatever. Anyways, then Percy meets Annabeth, and Annabeth is like, dude, tell me the answer. And he's like fading in and out of consciousness, and he's like, what the fuck is happening? And she's like talking about some prophecy, and he doesn't understand. And then he finally wakes up, and then he meets Luke as well. Luke is the camp director, or not the camp director, but he's the head of the Hermes cabin. So there are cabins in the camp, one for each major god, and I am breathing. And basically all of the kids who are born to that parent, they live in that cabin. A lot of them are honorary because obviously Zeus, Poseidon aren't supposed to have kids. Hera doesn't cheat. Athena is a maiden goddess, stuff like that, right? So Hermes is the god of like traveling and blah, 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 and so he like welcomes all the unclaimed kids, because if you're unclaimed, you don't know who your parent is, so you just stay with the Hermes cabin. So the Hermes cabin is very, very, very packed. And Luke is like, hi Percy, how you doing? And he's like real cool and whatever. And it's obvious that Annabeth has a crush on him. Anyways, then we proceed to the bathroom. Percy is like getting attacked by this bully named Clarisse, and she's the daughter of Ares, and she's very aggro and aggressive and blah, 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 whatever. And then he is like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. And then suddenly he like accidentally pelts her with water from the toilets. And then he's like, well, that was weird. And Clarisse was like, what the fuck? And Annabeth was like, oh, you have some powers, neat. You should join my team for Capture the Flag. So Capture the Flag happens. Basically, Annabeth uses her strats because she's the daughter of Athena, so she's really smart. So she puts Percy as bait on the border in between the two flags. And then Clarisse and her gang come. You think, like, God will also be banned from having kids. Well, yeah, but he's a minor. Well, he's not a minor god, but, you know, he's not like one of the big three. Anyways, so then Clarisse is like real pissed and wants to get revenge on Percy, and he's real sad, and he's a sitting duck. He's bait, and so then they all go and attack him. Meanwhile, Annabeth captures their flag and wins, and while he's fighting them, he finds out that standing in water heals him, and he's like, wow, that's really neat. And then a hellhound fucking attacks out of nowhere, and then it's like really scary because no monsters are able to get into the camp because of the magical border, so someone had to purposefully let that hellhound in. So there's a traitor among them. Interesting. Anyways, so Percy manages to kill the hellhound, and then he demonstrates battle prowess and whatever, and so he gets claimed by Poseidon, and a trident shows up above his head, and it's really, really, really bad because, as you recall from earlier, all the three major gods were not allowed to have kids since World War II, so he's a product of a broken oath. Another example of that was Thalia. She was turned into a pine tree on the brink of death, and she's the tree that protects the camp. She's the one that creates a magical border. Anyways, so he's accused as the lightning thief because Zeus's lightning bolt, like master bolt, is missing, and he thinks that Poseidon had a kid so that he could do his duties for him. Well, whatever. We're gonna make it an hour. I'm sweating. All right. So, so Chiron is like, oh my god, you need to go on a quest to prove your innocence. You have to go find the lightning bolt and bring it back and deliver it back into Zeus's hands, right? Then it'll prove that you weren't the one who stole it. And so, the 3 is like the magic number for all the quests. What is this gift? Anyways, this is not the tab. Okay, so each quest starts with meeting the Oracle of Delphi, which is like this shriveled mummy in the attic of their little big house. And the Oracle of Delphi dictates this quest. You shall go west and face the god who has turned. You shall find what was stolen and see it safely return. You shall be betrayed by one who calls you a friend, and you shall fail to save what matters most in the end. Luke gives a couple of gifts to them. Holy shit. Thanks for following, Sage. I appreciate you very much. I didn't notice the words. It's okay. You have all the time you want. I do not want to waste your time. I'm drawing, but I'm presenting. Okay, so Luke gives them a pair of shoes that fly, and also Chiron gives Percy this sword, the Riptide sword, because that's the only one that feels really balanced for him. Obviously, during this time, he's also doing more training and blah, 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 so he's made this count for you-know-what. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm sweating. Okay. And so that's why Percy's going. Annabeth has not been on a quest I think ever or in a really long time, so she also demands to go. And then lastly, Grover's going because he needs to make up for Thalia because he was the satyr who was supposed to bring her to camp and then she fucking died, turned into a tree, you know? And so he needs to get his thing called a searcher's license, which is basically all satyrs are trying to find Pan, the god of the wild, and he was missing for 2,000 years, and so they need a searcher's license to be able to find them and blah, blah, you know, whatever. Okay, cool. So they have to get to California because the entrance to hell is in California. Why do they need to go to hell? I don't remember exactly how they know, but the lightning bolt is in hell. Okay, cool. So she doesn't notice. Jesus Christ. All right. Okay, so anyways, they're in New York because that's where the camp is, right? So first they get on a bus and then the Furies attack, including the first one from, you know, the math teacher. So they attack and then they fucking explode the bus and they run away. Then next they end up in this little weird garden statue area and they are like, oh, we can rest here and eat and blah, blah, blah. And then it turns out to be fucking Medusa, you know, and she's like, trying to fucking kill them and turn them into pretty little statues and whatever. And so then Percy ends up beheading her, so it works out in the end. And then they go to the Denver Arch, and there they accidentally meet Echidna and her kid, the Chimera. And so they have a big fight there, and Percy gets fucking knocked off the fucking arch. 12 years old, he lands into the water, and so he's fine because, you know, son of Poseidon, and so he can breathe underwater and, you know, all these things. He basically is fine. And in the water, he receives a message from a water naiad that he needs to go to Santa Monica, right? Okay, very cool. Okay, then they stop in Denver for lunch, and then they meet Ares, and Ares is like, they immediately butt heads, so Percy and
Orna 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 orna.
What does it mean? So for like, take your time. We're literally talking about doing something else. Are you not speedrun? I am going to speedrun. If you have any questions, please stop me and ask me questions. Okay. Who needs to read the books? Just know the names and the songs. What do you mean the songs? I don't think this was ever a musical. Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyways, so Ares shows up and is like, yo, fuck you. And Percy is like, fuck you. And that's obviously not a good thing because he's a god and he's just a fucking 12-year-old kid. But, you know, he just gets angry because Ares has this sort of effect on everyone around him where he makes them really angry, blah, blah, all that stuff. You know, yeah. Anyways, he's like, hey, if you help me go grab this shield, then I'll give you safe passage to Nevada. And they're obviously like, oh, we really need that. And so they're like, okay, cool. He goes to get the shield. It was a booby trap set by Hephaestus because Hephaestus knows that Aphrodite is cheating on him with Ares, and so it's like a whole thing. And then he gets a shield, and then Ares is like, cool, thanks for the shield, I'll give you a backpack. The backpack has a lot of nice goods in it, like food, snacks, money, whatever. So then they go to Nevada. In Nevada, they end up in a casino. So let me preface this by saying that the quest has to be completed by December 21st, which is the winter solstice, because every solstice, including the summer ones, the gods meet up, all of them, for like a big meeting where they like discuss things, and that's when war will be declared if Zeus's lightning bolt doesn't show up by that time. So that's their deadline, right? They have a ton of time. They have like 2 weeks, right? They're like, cool, let's like stop by this. What is Orna? It's right there. Lightning Thief musical. Oh no. I have a question. Can you go slower because I'm having a hard time? Fast English is still a struggle. Oh. Okay. I'm actually sweating. Okay, so they end up in a casino. And so in the casino, they're like, let's stop here, get a little bit of rest, get a little bit of food. I'm sorry. I'll go a little slower. So in this casino, they start noticing some little weird things, but they also get a lot of hospitality. They're like, here, have this card that's infinite money, you know, spend it wherever you want, you know, play as many games as you want, get as much food as you want. And they're like, holy shit, this is fucking sick. But slowly over time, what they realize is, especially Percy, what he realizes is he's standing next to this kid and he's wearing some weird fucking outfit. And he's like, hey, cool game you're playing. And the other guy's like, totally tubular, dude. And he's like, what the fuck? And then he's like, what year do you think it is? And the kid's like, what are you talking about, bro? It's fucking 1963. And Percy's like, oh shit, this is like a cursed casino. This is called the Lotus Casino, by the way. Not that it ever appears again in the rest of the series, but yeah. So then Percy's like, this is a big problem, we're trapped. And so he like grabs Annabeth and he grabs Grover, and they're both like, stop, I'm playing this really cool game that is catered just to me and my interests. And then, wait, this music. Thank you, Elise. Okay, and so then Percy's like, we need to escape. And then when they get out of the casino, they fucking realize it's December 20th. They only have 1 day to get the fucking lightning bolt. It is crazy. It is insane. So they're very stressed, and they go to Santa Monica because that's what the water Naya told Percy. And so, what the fuck is this shit? Why is Mr. Krabs here? There's a minor god that Percy meets there. But I don't remember what his relation is to Mr. Krabs. No. What? They don't even... Okay, well... he meets some minor god there. And what the minor god does is he provides him with 3 magical pearls and says, don't use them until your time of need. And he's like, okay, cool. Anyways, they continue to hell, which happens to be Hollywood. And then as they're, on their way, Percy has dreams. So this thing about this series is that a lot of times demigods will receive dreams. Usually, I don't actually know exactly how the dreams work, but they're usually like either prophetic or indicative of something happening at the same time somewhere else. So they're magical dreams, right? And so Percy has this dream about this weird, spooky voice coming from a deep hole in the ground. And he's like, oh, that's weird. And, it's talking about, very spooky things. And he's like, wow, weird. Anyways, so then they go to hell, right? And so the doorway to hell is guarded by Charon, which is the guy who, has the boat and he, pushes people across the river, except a lot of people are fucking dying, and so there's a massively long line, and the only way to get across is with money. And otherwise you're just stuck in this long line until, eventually they, get through you. But luckily for them, they have money, they bribe him, and they... Crabs because of the pearls. No, I swear to God, the guy's name is related. Okay, if you guys really really want to know why I put a crab there, we'll figure it out together. Procrustes. That's his name. Wait. Whatever, dude. Krusty Krab. Yeah. Oh my. Okay, so yeah, that's what happened. That was a little spat that they had. Basically, Procrustes, I forgot to include this in the PowerPoint, but basically it was this, he had, this mattress shop, and it was, a little sham in that once you lay down in the mattress, you get, tied down. This is very kinky now that I think about it, but basically you get tied down and then he slowly stretches you until you split in half. So that's a little less kinky, a little more murdery. But Percy, what he manages to do is be like, oh, I'm gonna flatter you, you should show me this cool bed, and you lay down on it, and then fucking kill him. Easy peasy. Anyways, so we move on. He's in hell. Cerberus, very cute. Annabeth manages to entice him with a little red ball. These magical shoes turn out to be cursed, and they actually try to drag Grover into this little hole, this little pit, and by little I mean it's very big. It's fucking Tartarus, actually. And then they find out that the guy in the hole is fucking Kronos, because, he was chopped up into little slivers by Zeus after he was destroyed a long time ago. If you need more history on, Greek mythology and whatever, please let me know. But basically, Kronos is down there, and it was the shoes, which were given to him by Luke, were cursed to bring him down there. Kronos is the dad of all of the gods, pretty much. Yes, they're all related. No, being related on the godly side is not incest. Anyways, so we move on. it turned out, I don't know why I put a trick here, but basically what I'm trying to say right now is that his mom is actually alive. She was frozen in place right before she died by Hades, who is now using her as a bargaining chip. Kronos ate Hades. Kronos ate almost all of the gods except for Zeus, I believe. Anyways, so then what happens is Hades is like, I know you stole my helm of darkness. How dare you? And also, this entire time, Percy's backpack has been getting heavier and heavier. You know, the one that Ares gave him. And then he turns out that the lightning bolt has been in there the whole time. And he's like, oh wow, how interesting. I seem to have been set up. And Percy's like, Hades, I'm sorry, I didn't fucking steal your helm of darkness, but I will get it back to you at some point. I know who double-crossed me. It was Ares. I gotta go. I love you, Mom. I'm sorry, but I gotta leave you behind. And so the three of them use the pearls, and it works like an ender pearl, and it brings them back to the Santa Monica Beach, where he fights Ares. And so Ares actually has the Helm of Darkness, and Percy fights him for it. And obviously, you know, a fight between a god and a kid, not exactly fair, but Percy manages to cut his ankle, and it really pisses him off, and he bleeds gold because that's the color of the god's blood. It's called ichor. Anyways, so the reason that Ares did it is because he wanted to start a war between Zeus and Poseidon and Hades, you know, by stealing, you know, the lightning bolt and also the Helm of Darkness. It would start a war between those two, and then Percy's existence as a proof of the oath breaking, just, you know, an all-out war, because he likes war. Okay. Anyways, so Percy manages to tell Ares to fuck off, and then he gets the Helm of Darkness, and he gives it to the three Furies, who are not trying to kill him anymore, and he's like, give this to Hades. And he's like, oh, thanks, I'm gonna let your mom go now, since you turned out to be innocent. Anyways, then Percy goes all the way back to Mount Olympus, and he's like, hey, Zeus, I have the fucking lightning bolt. He takes a plane there, and it's really scary because flying it means you're in the domain of Zeus. Very scary. You could get smote out of the sky, but he was fine. Anyways, and then he proves his innocence, and then everything is fine, and it works out. And Zeus is like, yeah, whatever. I'm not grateful, but fuck you. And he's like, okay, cool. And that's also the first time that Percy meets his dad. It's very brief, though. Anyways, and then one last thing that Percy does is he sends the head of Medusa that he chopped off to his mom, and is like, obviously the eyes are covered, but Percy's like, you know what to do with this, Mom. And so the reason that she had married Gabe all that time ago, bedtime, good night, senpai, thanks for stopping by, I appreciate you, sleep well. So the reason that the mom had married Gabe was because he smelled so bad that he masked the scent of Percy, because Gabe smelled so much like a human that it just sort of covered Percy's cell, so it was supposed to like protect him the entire time. But now that Percy has found out who he is, you know, blah blah blah, whatever, she can get rid of him. So he's abusive, yes, for the scent. So she uses Medusa's head and she petrifies him and his three really mean friends, and they turn into this really cool realistic statue, and then she sells that shit for a ton of money, where she'll then use that money, I believe in the next book, to get Percy into a nice school, because he was kicked out of his first one. He's been kicked out of a lot of schools because of various problems, and then she also uses that money to get a nice apartment. Okay, and then it's revealed that Kronos was actually manipulating Luke, and Luke was the one who manipulated Ares into doing that, because Kronos is like, dude, aren't you like, don't you feel like abandoned by your dad? And Luke is like, yeah, I do. And Luke is like, fuck the gods, I'm gonna fuck them up. And so, you know, that's what he did. Cool, next book. I need to go by faster. Percy meets this kid named Tyson. He's really ugly, and it later turns out that he's a fucking cyclops. Right there. There's a dodgeball fight. It turned out to be these guys with 6 arms. They're called Lystragonians or something like that. Is it? I don't write anywhere. I'm pretty sure they're Lystragonians, whatever. Anyways, Annabeth is in San Francisco, which is like a bad place for demigods. Tyson chicken, yes. Anyways, and then it turns out that the dodgeballs are on fire. Also, there's this thing called celestial bronze, which is what all of their weapons are made out of. And celestial bronze doesn't work on mortals, so it passes straight through them, but it does kill monsters and also demigods, anything magical. The dodgeballs are made out of bronze, and then the monsters die, and then Grover is out there looking for Pan. Oh, I drew Pan right here. Perfect. Annabeth somehow shows up. I don't remember why. She's been having bad dreams about camp. Anyways, so then they go to camp and they find out that Thalia's tree is dying because it's been poisoned by Luke. Oh my god, Justin, hi! How are you? Thank you so much for the sub. And so the only way to save the tree is by finding this thing called the Golden Fleece. And the Golden Fleece, it basically heals anything and everything. At the same time, Chiron is actually the son of Kronos. It's already been a year. Yes, sir! Yes, sir! How you doing? How you doing? I cleaned it all. Very nice, very nice. I was supposed to be drawing, and now I'm redoing my Percy Jackson presentation. Who let Kronos out of Tartarus to fuck? No, Chiron was born before. Chiron is very, very, very old. Chiron trained all the old heroes of legend, like Jason and Hercules, maybe. I don't know, fucking know. Anyways, to replace him, they send this guy from hell. His name is Tantalus. He's cursed to never be able to eat or drink anything. And he's a real asshole about it. And then he says, okay, the person who can lead the quest is the person who wins a chariot race, and Clarisse wins. I don't remember how. I think it was a very close cut. Maybe she was playing dirty. Who knows? Anyways, this is from the movie, which, once again, you should not watch. But Percy and Annabeth know that Grover is in danger because of the bad dreams that they've been having, and so they're like, fuck it, I don't care that Clarisse is the one who's chosen to go on the quest. I'm gonna fucking go on my own. So they go out on their own, and Hermes shows up and is like, hey, I support this. You should check out this boat. Oh, Hermes like talks about how he regrets not making Luke happier and stuff. Because that's like the whole reason why Luke turned against the gods in the first place. Anyway, so these hippocampi show up. They're basically horsefish, and they take the kids all the way. Also, Tyson is there. He's a Cyclops. Anyways, they take the kids all the way over to this boat called the Princess Andromeda. It's a cruise ship, and there they find out that Kronos is being resurrected in a sarcophagus. That's what this is. So slowly over time, his pieces are being brought out of Tartarus and into the sarcophagus, right, and reforming his body. Anyways, they manage to escape Princess Andromeda, and then they narrowly escape, and then what happens is they land on this like patch of grass in the middle of nowhere, and then they're attacked by a hydra, and then Percy is stupid and cuts off one of their heads, and so then two more grow, and then he's like, oh shit, I regret this, and Annabeth is like, you fucking idiot, and then they have a little bit of a rivalry, but as you guys already know from my nickname in the server, they end up together. It is so cute. Anyways, so Clarisse shows up out of nowhere with this like old warship full of fucking undead sailors, which, you know, was courtesy of Ares, her father. So basically, any people who are on the losing side of the war, of any war in general, are under Ares's domain to sort of command, and so he gives her, I believe these are like guys from the Civil War, so basically a bunch of Confederates. But yeah, they run the ship and they help Clarisse, and she's alone, and so she manages to save them. So then all four of them go to the Sea of Monsters, also known as the Bermuda Triangle, and then the entrance to the Bermuda Triangle is guarded by Scylla, I don't know how to pronounce it, and another one is Charybdis. And so Scylla's the one that comes from the sky and snatches you up. Charybdis is like a fucking whirlpool. And so basically their ship is fucking destroyed, and Tyson fucking dies, and so does Clarisse, because the boat fucking explodes. And only Percy and Annabeth are able to escape. They, on their little tiny raft, which, by the way, at that point, Percy learns that he always knows their nautical location and velocity at all times, and just knows his bearings at sea, and also can sort of just control the boat. So, kind of OP if you ask me. But Anyways, they float over to this island, which has like a little island resort on it, and it's like guarded by this woman named Cersei, or it's like run by her, and she's like all nice and whatever, and she's like, oh my god, Annabeth, you're so pretty, come here, let me give you a makeover, and Percy, you come over here, I have special treatment for you where I turn you into a fucking guinea pig, because, you know, men are trash and all that, and so Percy's like, ah, because that's the only sound that guinea pigs are able to make, and Annabeth is like, hang on just a second, I know you, and then, they manage to escape, mostly due to Annabeth's intelligence and blah, 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 whatever. And they take this old pirate ship because the other guinea pigs on the island are the entire crew of the... Oh, fuck, I forgot the name of the boat. But Blackbeard's boat. It's like Anna something or whatever. Anyways, so Percy takes that ship, and he can fucking control all the rigging and whatever, and they fucking sail away. And then as they're sailing, there are sirens that they're supposed to sail by. If you have any questions, Maya, please ask. And so the whole thing about why the sirens are so enticing is because they sing about what you desire most in life and what your greatest flaw is. So it's your fatal flaw. So it's what's most likely to get you killed. And Annabeth, obviously daughter of Athena, really wants to know, really curious, wants to know everything about herself. Percy is like, himbo, he's like, I don't care, man. And so he puts in, like, earwax and ties down Annabeth so that she can listen without wanting to jump into the water and fucking die. Anyways, she manages to slip out, and she almost dies. Percy has to jump into the water and save her, and as he touches her hand, he sees just for a second what her vision is of what she wants most. And it is thus. It is her sitting in Central Park looking on the entirety of New York, and all of the buildings there have been designed by her because she really likes architecture and stuff like that. So just sort of having that pride. Yeah, her fatal flaw is pride, which by the way comes up in a later book. Anyways, and then also by her side are her parents, who are reunited because they're divorced. And they're... Oh, wait. They're not divorced. They never got married because Athena is a goddess. My bad. You know what I mean. Anyways, and then also Luke is there, and he's no longer evil. So that's just sort of what she wants. Anyways, blah, 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 blah. They eventually get to the correct island, which turns out to be Polyphemus? He's a Cyclops in that famous story where I believe it's Jason or someone who's like, it is I, nobody, and I have come to kill you, and he like kind of blinds him and blah blah whatever, and he's like, oh my god, nobody stabbed me, and then all the other Cyclops are laughing at him because he's like, haha, nobody. Yeah. So there are a lot of shenanigans. Oh, there's a lot of shenanigans that I don't explain in this PowerPoint. Don't worry about it then. I do remember all of the shenanigans, but whatever. Anyways, eventually it turns out that Clarisse and Tyson are actually also alive. But it turns out that Clarisse's prophecy that she had received was, you shall sail the iron ship with warriors of bone. You shall find what you seek and make it your own, but despair for your life entombed within stone and fail without friends to fly home alone. And so... basically, Percy and Annabeth sort of carry the quest, and they get the fleece, and they send Clarisse on a flight home alone, to be faster, and also because Zeus might fucking smite Percy out of the sky. And so then they're like, we'll get home on our own, don't worry about it. But then they fucking end up accidentally on the Princess Andromeda again. Oh my god, how sad. But Percy does a little smart thing, where he iris messages Mr. D at Camp Half-Blood by... Basically, there's like a little mist and a little rainbow on the boat, and he throws a coin, pretending to throw it at someone. They dodge, and it lands in the mist, and then Percy's like, I can't believe you did this to Mr. D at Camp Half-Blood, which is basically what you're supposed to say in order to... make a call. And so it makes a call without other people noticing, and he manages to worm a little confession out of Luke, thus proving Chiron's innocence so that he can come back to camp. And then I don't remember how, but they eventually, oh, this is what happens. So the party ponies, hi Leto, how are you? I've been distracted from my art. Oh my god. I'm still in the art category. Whatever. Fuck it. Who cares? Who cares about streaming in the correct category? I'm presenting about Percy Jackson and the Olympians right now, if you would like to hear. So the party ponies are a bunch of centaurs, and it turns out that Chiron is the only really civilized member of the centaur family. All of them are fucking crackheads from Florida, but they managed to save Percy and all of them from the Princess Andromeda. And they go back to camp, and then it turns out that the Golden Fleece worked a little too well on the tree, because what happened was it was supposed to heal the tree, but it did a little overheal, like, you know, when Reyna overheals in Valor, and then Thalia, the girl who was turned into the tree, aka the daughter of Zeus, pops out of the tree, and she's like, holy shit balls. And so it's really crazy because there's actually a big prophecy about a child of the big three being either the cause of the rise or downfall of the gods when they turn 16. And so previously, Percy was the only person who could fulfill that sort of prophecy, but now Thalia is another contender. And actually, I believe a contender of sooner time because she is turning 16 sooner. My cousin is named Andromeda. Is she evil, actually? No. Actually, Andromeda is such a pretty name. Tell your cousin I said that. Alright, so we go to book 3. Thalia, Percy, and Annabeth are on a little baby quest together. Thalia and Percy have some authority issues in between one another because they're both children of the big three, and Percy was used to being sort of like the main character, and now he's sort of sharing that spotlight with Thalia. Anyways, they're on a quest to save these two kids, Nico and Bianca. They are also demigods, but they don't know it yet, and so they're trying to do a recon mission in order to bring them to the camp. And there's also a monster there, and Dr. Thorne, he's a manticore. Where's Grover? Oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention. Okay, so the reason that Grover was originally in trouble during this quest was because he was looking for Pan, the god of the wild. And he was attracted to this island because the smell of the golden fleece smells very similar to Pan. It smells like wild and good things, and so then, you know, he gets trapped and then he dies. Or no, he gets trapped and then he almost dies because yeah. Nico's a shippable character. It is true, yes. Nico's an emo boy. Anyway, so Grover, after this encounter with near death, he actually goes back, and I believe he is still trying to find his... No, wait. He's on this quest. Yeah, he's on this quest. I forgot to put him in here, but he's with Thalia and Percy and Annabeth. Anyways, so they find these two. And then, Annabeth gets fucking captured, but before anybody else is hurt, Artemis shows up with her huntresses. And it's like, wow, so cool, because, like, Artemis... Holy! Okay, alright, chill. Oh my god, alright. Artemis is, like, she appears to be 14 years old, because she chooses to be that age to match with all of her sort of huntresses. Or no, they're called hunters, my bad. Hi, Hannah, how are you? And so she's like, fuck you, Manticore. But he escapes with Annabeth in this. Oh my goodness. And, Percy feels really bad because it was a bad call on his part that helped to get Annabeth captured. And if he had followed Thalia's plan, then she would have been okay. Oh, or had a better chance of being okay. Anyways, so then Artemis goes to talk to Bianca and is like, would you like to become one of my hunters? You become immortal, and you are to swear an oath to never date a boy, because boys suck. Please tell me I didn't miss PowerPoint night. You didn't! I just got convinced into representing my old PowerPoint. So Bianca is now a hunter, and so she gets all those benefits and immortality and blah blah blah. And Nico is really fucking pissed off because he's like, my sister just fucking abandoned me. Oh my god. Anyways, so then the Manticore mentioned this thing called a Great Stirring right before he escaped, and Artemis is like, oh, this is very concerning. I'm going to leave now. Goodbye. And so then the person left in charge is Artemis's lieutenant, if you will, Zoe Nightshade. And she is also quite old because she still speaks like thy and thee. Clarissa and Tyson still dead. No, they're not. My bad. I forgot to mention that, surprise, surprise, they turn out to be alive during the shenanigans. My bad for that. Clarissa took the fleece back to camp, and Tyson stayed with them. Alrighty. Also, Grover is completely in love with Artemis because, you know, she's like one with nature, and he's all very nature-y and all that. Anyway, so Zoe is very, how do you say, arrogant, perhaps? And like, just like above superiority complex. Tyson is Percy's brother. Good catch! Yes, they are half brothers because both of their dads is Poseidon. Sheesh, look at you! Alright, so anyways, Artemis brings her brother Apollo right before she has to leave. I watch the movies. Oh, okay. I forgot that was probably mentioned in the movie somewhere. So Apollo is like, hey, I'm real sexy and whatever. Also, here's my cool sports car that is the fucking Sun Chariot. And then, he turns it into a bus, you know, just to make it so that everybody else can fit in it. And he's like, I'll drive you guys to Camp Half-Blood. And then, he actually asks Thalia to drive, and she freaks out and panics. And he's like, it's okay, you're almost 16, you need to learn how to drive. Not the fucking Sun Chariot. Anyways, it's at this time that Percy sort of learns that Thalia is actually afraid of heights, which is really ironic because she's the daughter of Zeus. Haha, very funny. Anyways, they land at camp, and then there's this sort of tradition every night, or sorry, not every night, every time that the hunters stay at Camp Half-Blood, that they have a friendly game of capture the flag that ends up not being friendly because the hunters have like a fucking like 96 time win streak in capture the flag because, you know, they're OP and whatever. Welcome backstage. Anyways, Thalia and Percy once again have major issues because they are both still sort of fighting for authority, fighting to see which one is better, which one has better combat knowledge, blah blah, all these things. So that sort of also causes their loss. Anyways, Percy has some bad dreams, and then he goes into the water and he rescues this little cowfish named Bessie. Not named Bessie, but he names her Bessie. And he's like, haha, nice to meet you. Anyways, so then the Oracle of Delphi fucking crawls out of the attic, which it has never done before. It crawls out, plops itself right in front of Zoe Nightshade, the lieutenant of Artemis, and says this quest. 5 shall go west to the goddess in chains. 1 shall be lost in the land without rain. The bane of Olympus shows the trail. Campers and hunters combined prevail. The Titan's curse must 1 withstand, and 1 shall perish by a parent's hand. Very spooky, very ominous. Already within the quest prophecy, 2 are gonna fucking die. Right? Real sad. Pepita. Oh my god. Okay. My tummy hurts. Oh my god, wait. Icarus is actually mentioned in the next book. You needed a break, thanks, Sage. He is so cute. Okay, bye-bye. He ate. Oh, he did. I think I'm gonna change my stream category. I might be in this for a little while longer. Okay. Yeah, Hannah. Let's go. Okay. Anyways, so Zoe chooses the crew. It's not bothering me. I just feel guilty that I'm not drawing. Because that's what I said I was gonna do, but it's fine. Where's Flaxpin? I think he's visiting his family right now. But he just hasn't been in chat. He's been playing a lot of Valheim. Most of the hours that you see me on Valheim, it's actually me just running the server for him. You want me to DM him? Tell him you're asking for him? Okay. So anyways, as I was saying... Alright, I'll DM him real quick. Sage is... Okay. So Zoe chooses the crew of people that'll show up for the quest, and it turned out to be Bianca and Grover, because he's a satyr, not a man. Thalia, and then Phoebe. Phoebe's another girl. She's like a healer. And then Percy's not allowed because men are gross, and so he's like really upset about that because he wants to help, you know, and also maybe look for Annabeth. Phoebe gets poisoned by some shenanigans, and so she can't make it. Ethan Flax said, "Oh boy, tell him I'm taking a trip in the Alaska. JK." Anyways, I'll stop by in a minute maybe. Okay. So Nico is like, "Oh my god, please keep my sister safe, Percy." And Percy's like, "Okay, I will. I promise." Why is he asking for me? Probably to bully you. Oh. Never mind, he said, "Gotta check up on him." You got a free pass to bully him, so I assume you're trying to take advantage of it. Anyways, so Percy promises to look after Bianca to Nico, and then he gets on this horse named Blackjack that he met briefly after saving on the Princess Andromeda in this scene. And Blackjack, he can also talk to horses, by the way, because Poseidon created horses from the crust of waves, and that includes Pegasi. And so he's like, "Yo, boss," because that's how he speaks. I imagine he's got some sort of weird New Yorker accent. Anyways, and so then Percy is like, "I'm gonna fly on Blackjack, I'm gonna try and get out of here." And then Mr. D catches him, and that's sort of the source of this cover art, which is Percy riding Blackjack and then being caught by these grapevines because, you know, god of wine. And so Dionysus is like just chatting about spoilers. These are not spoilers. This is a preface to this other PowerPoint. This information is actually necessary to know if you want to feel as invested in the characters as I do. Morgan. Anyways, so Mr. D is like, "Where the fuck are you going? You're not allowed to fucking leave camp without a fucking permit to go on a quest or whatever." And then he's like, "Whatever, you can go. I'm gonna hope that you fucking die anyways." And Percy's like, "Okay, cool." Anyways, so then Percy trails the group and then eventually goes to this museum where he finds the Manticore again, aka the Dr. Thorne from, you know, the school up here. Oh, I didn't mean to fucking do that. Anyways, so then they use some fucking dragon teeth to plant into the earth and then out pop these undead soldiers. Simba? No, it's the Nemean lion. So the Nemean lion is one of the monsters that Hercules fought. It has a bulletproof coat, so it can't, you know, be pierced by any sword or anything like that. And also, it is at this point that he meets the general. He doesn't meet him, but, you know, Percy sort of sees him there for a brief moment. And he sort of seems to be in charge of all of the operations. Anyways, so the Nemean lion attacks them, and Percy, because they're at a museum, like the fucking space museum or some shit, Percy throws astronaut freeze-dried ice cream into the lion's mouth, and it is like, oh my god, this is so disgusting. And then while his mouth is so open, the hunters, you know, with their superior archery skills, shoot a couple arrows into his mouth. He dies, and he turns into a nice bulletproof fur coat that Percy keeps. Anyways, Zoe is really peeved that Percy showed up, but at the same time, she's like, I guess unwillingly you have become the fifth on our quest since Phoebe was poisoned. Anyways, so then Apollo shows up dressed as a hobo and gives them just a nice little hint that they should go to New Mexico. And then a train shows up and they all ride in the train and they go to New Mexico. Then they fight the undead soldiers that were, you know, born out here. And then for a moment, Grover senses Pan. And he's like, holy fucking shit, because that's the first sign of Pan in 2,000 years. And the presence of Pan is actually to bring about the I almost said arithmetic. Erymanthian boar, which is just like a basically wild boar. It's not Saturday. This is the presentation before this presentation. Oh my god. This is my old PowerPoint. Thank you for lurking, Bubby. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's Percy Jackson and the Olympians. It's not Heroes of Olympus yet. I structured this PowerPoint a little differently. It has more text. Whereas this one I tried to stick to mostly images. Quick question, Ling. Is there a minimum number of slides to be presented? No, Ira. It is however many you want. You could do a one-slide presentation if you wanted to. Morgan is in my DMs accusing me of spoiling everything. Alright, so the boar is... Ugh. Okay. So the boar is like a wild blessing. It kills a lot of these undead skeletons, and then they ride it all the way to Arizona, and then it fucking drops them. I don't know. Anyways, and then they end up to have shown up in a junkyard in Arizona, and then coincidentally, Ares and Aphrodite are just parked outside of that junkyard. They were just sort of waiting for them to show up. And Aphrodite is the goddess of beauty, if you guys didn't know, and also the goddess of love. And so her appearance changes constantly as Percy looks at her, which I think is a cool tidbit of information. Anyways, so she's like, I think it's so sweet that you're going on this quest to find Annabeth, blah, 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 blah. You know, I think you guys would be really cute together. And Percy's like, oh, but girls are gross. But he's blushing. Anyways, I don't remember why else Aphrodite showed up other than to just privately talk to Percy. But yeah, anyways, so girls do have cooties. Anyways, so the fucking junkyard turns out to be cursed, and so they obviously it's a junkyard of the gods, so a lot of the items there are magical in nature, blah blah, all these things. they're told not to take anything, but Bianca steals this one little figurine for her little brother Nico because he plays this game that he's really addicted to. And so he like tries to steal it. She tries to steal it, but it ends up being that there's this big ass fucking robot that is a little defective, but it's still really good at killing people, and it, you know, starts attacking them, and it's like, oh my god, oh no. Anyways, Bianca feels guilty because she's the one who triggered this, and so she climbs up into the robot and disables it from within, except it also fucking explodes or something, and so she fucking dies. And then you stop and you think about it for a second and you realize they're in fucking Arizona, the land without rain. She fucking dies. Oh my god. Let's fucking have a moment of silence for Bianca. So sad. She was just trying to do her best for her little brother. She was literally turned immortal like fucking 2 days ago, and then she died. Oh my god. So sad. It is for real. She's fucking dead. She fucking died. This is so... Oh, I was so sad. I was so sad. Like, the other time when I said that Clarissa and Tyson were dead, it was for dramatic effect, except I forgot to tell you guys that they were alive. But this one, she's actually dead. I'm sorry. She died. It was really fucking tragic. I was so sad. Anyways, let's move on. 420. Is there... Anyways, so then they go to the Hoover Dam, and they make a lot of dam jokes, and it's really funny because it's like a little bit of like soft comic relief after death. I cannot revive her. Sorry, guys. And then they're like, oh my god, I'm gonna have a drink at the damn water fountain, and I need to go to the damn fucking bathroom. You know, it's wait, not the fucking part, just the. Anyways, so it's really cute, and then unfortunately they're also attacked there, and Percy's like, oh shit, and then he is like running underground and he's trying to hide, and then he encounters this mortal girl named Rachel, and he accidentally tries to slash her with his sword, and the sword passes clean through her, proving that she is completely mortal, because otherwise his sword would have killed her if she were a demigod. And she's like, holy shit, why'd you just try to kill me? And he's like, what are you talking about? How do you know that this is a sword? She can see through the mist more clearly than he can. Just a fun little tidbit. She does come back in the series later. In the meantime, though, she helps him fucking escape, and they ride these fucking weird ass statues from the Hoover Dam, and they fucking escape. And it's like the statues were dedicated to Zeus, and then Thalia's like, hey dad, you turned me into a tree, the least you could do is help us get out of here. And so then these fucking eagles take him to San Francisco, where they found out that Bessie, the little cow fish that Percy saved in the beginning of the book, is actually the Ophiuchtaurus, which is actually sort of the key to the downfall of the gods, because sacrificing Bessie and then burning the entrails, like whoever does that will have the power to overthrow the gods. So Kronos's big plan was to basically get the Ophiuchtaurus, get Thalia, make Thalia kill the Ophiuchtaurus, and then overthrow the gods, right? And they find this information out from this old dude who's like a minor sea god. Percy offers up the Nemean bulletproof coat as an offering to his father to grant both Grover and the Ophiuchtaurus safe passage back to camp by way of the ocean. And so they escape, and then these guys come, these fucking undead soldiers come again, and they like try to kill him, and they're working for Dr. Thorne, who is working for the general, and then they're like, oh my god, this is so awful. And then I don't remember why, but Mr. D for some reason decides to show a little bit of his battle prowess, I suppose. And so he fucking he does a little snap, you smell grapes, and you hear like the breaking of 1,000 minds at once or some shit. Because not only is he god of wine and grapes and whatever, he's also the god of like madness and whatever. So basically he helps them, and then the only people left are Thalia, Percy, and Zoe, right? Because Bianca's fucking dead. And Grover's taking the little Bessie back to camp. And so these three, they go up to San Francisco, which is where Annabeth was staying over the summer with her father, and they find her father, and then her father drives them to Mount Tamalpais. I do not know how to say that, I'm so sorry. Anyways, and then they find out that at the top of that is the Hesperides. They are the goddesses of dusk / evening, so the only time that the garden opens is at dusk. And then a lot of plot moments are revealed here. One of which being that Zoe actually used to be one of the Hesperides, and so they are her ex-sisters, and that she betrayed them because she fell in love with Hercules, who needed a golden apple from this tree that was being guarded by Ladon, which is like a fucking big-ass dragon. If somebody makes a Ladon these nuts joke, I swear to God. So then, she betrays her sisters, and she also gives Hercules the sword, which actually is Percy's sword. So that's why she sort of had a personal vendetta against, men, but also Percy specifically, because of that sword. Because it has a tragic history because basically what happened was after she betrayed her sisters for Hercules and gave him that sword, he betrayed her, and so her only escape was to become a hunter of Artemis. So that's why she's super old and speaks as in thy hands are so warm, or whatever, I don't know. Which also means that her father is Atlas, and Atlas is the general, aka the guy that Dr. Thorne was working for. So warm. Anyways, so Ladon is like a fucking poisonous dragon or some shit. But basically, he trusted Zoe a long time ago. She tries to distract him while the other two get past. And then it doesn't work out, and Ladon injures her, and she's mildly poisoned, right? Anyways, really unfortunate. And then we see that what actually happened is that Atlas, if you guys didn't know, was the guy who I believe he's a Titan. He was cursed to hold up the sky. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. I'm trying to go so fast. Anyways, so Atlas was cursed to hold up the sky, and the curse is that someone has to be willing to take that burden off your shoulders. Otherwise, you can't give it up. You can't just drop it. You don't have to. Anyways, so Luke took on that burden from Atlas in order to enact a plan where basically then he would get Annabeth to come and take the sky from him, and obviously she's gonna, because she has a baby crush on Luke, even though he betrayed the entire camp or whatever. There's sort of conflicted feelings there. But anyways, Annabeth was holding up the sky, and because Annabeth is a sweet, young, innocent girl, when Artemis shows up, of course she's gonna take the sky, because she doesn't want Annabeth to suffer. And then Artemis is staying there, and she's trapped, and Percy is all right, I see. And so he takes the burden of the sky from her so that she can have a big battle with, Atlas and some monsters that show up and blah, 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 all those things. And then anyone who holds the burden of the sky has a little white streak in their hair. So did they get No, it's described quite well in the books. It's basically a crushing feeling you're never gonna be happy ever again and you're gonna die ASAP. So that's what Percy was suffering through. Anyway, so they have a big fight, and long story short, Zoe gets stabbed by her dad, Atlas, and then you think back to this, and you say, one shall perish by a parent's hand. And then you realize that Zoe, knowing that her dad was Atlas, still managed to do that. Wow. Anyways, so depression, yes, basically. Anyways, so Artemis pushes Atlas back, and he is oh, fuck me, I'm fucking stuck under the sky again. And then Percy and Annabeth now both have a gray streak in their hair. Oh my god, they're matching, so cute. Anyways, Thalia fights Luke and fucking shoves him off a cliff, and so he's dead. And then Annabeth's dad also comes out of nowhere, and he helps save them from the rest of the monsters by using celestial bronze bullets because he's a history buff. Also, quick interlude. Athena doesn't have children by having, like, sex. Athena has, like, brain children, right? And so she was attracted to Annabeth's father because he was, like, a nerd and, like, a history buff and whatever. And so then the child sprung from her mind and she gave Annabeth to him. Because that's how Annabeth was born, from Zeus's head, if you guys didn't know that. Anyways, we move on. Artemis is riding her chariot and Zoe is laying there dying, and she's like, oh my god, did I serve you well, Artemis? And she's like, you were the very best lieutenant I could have ever asked for. And then she fucking dies, and then Artemis sends her body into the sky and makes her into a constellation. It is so fucking sweet. It is also so fucking sad that she's fucking dead. She literally knew that she was gonna die because of that very obvious line in the quest. Like, who else is gonna get killed by their parents except for fucking the daughter of a fucking titan? You know what I'm saying? But she did that shit anyways because she cared about Artemis. Oh. Anyways. Then we get to the winter solstice meeting, and the whole reason that they needed to save Artemis before that meeting was because she was one of the biggest voices in proactively fighting the Titans as opposed to sitting on their asses. So now they all agree to take action against the Titans because they're trying to overthrow all the gods and whatever. And then she also asked Artemis asked Thalia to be the new lieutenant, which would also prevent her from aging so that she would not turn 16. She would stay 15 forever because she's immortal, and thus she would no longer be the person responsible for the big prophecy, thus putting that burden back on Percy's little shoulders. Anyways, there's this moment where Artemis is like talking about how she wants somebody to join the hunters, and Percy gets really stressed out because he thinks it's gonna be Annabeth, and he's like about to tell her like, please say no, which is so cute because Percy wants to date her and hunters can't date men. So cute, isn't it? Anyways, so then back at camp, Percy has to break to the news to Nico that his fucking sister is dead, despite him having, you know, said that he was gonna protect her. So he's really sad and he's really distraught, and then he somehow accidentally uses his powers to open up a massive hole in the ground and kill someone, and then it turns out, holy shit, he's the son of Hades. Wow. That's kind of crazy. Anyways, Percy says not to tell anyone, so the only people who know are him, Annabeth, and Grover, because he's also a child of the big three. Interesting. There's also another very, very, very interesting tidbit about this specific part of the story that I would like you guys to remember, because I will touch on it on Saturday. I will actually maybe even cry about it. I will probably cry at least 3 times during my presentation. Yeah, Percy is a simp though. It's not bad. I don't know. I think it's just really good writing. That's all. Okay, so then we go to book 4, the Battle of the Labyrinth. We start up and they're finally in high school. So keep in mind that they were fucking in middle school until this point. Kind of crazy. Anyways, Percy shows up at this school and he finds out that Rachel actually also goes there. Yes, the Labyrinth. And so he's like, wow, that's so weird. Anyways, they get attacked by these things. I forget what they're called, but they're basically, they have one horse leg and they have one robot leg. Now how old? 15. My nose is so itchy. They're 15 now. Okay. So, Grover is somehow in trouble. I don't remember why. Anyways, there's also a new sword instructor named... Uh-oh. I almost accidentally revealed a plot twist. I don't remember his name, to be honest with you. Yeah, early teens. And he's also got a dog named Mrs. O'Leary, and she's real cute. Anyways, and then, I don't remember how Grover's in trouble, blah, 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 blah. I remember how he's in trouble. Okay, so basically, in the last book, he found out that he felt the presence of Pan, and so the council of satyrs who are sort of in charge of distributing... Holy shit, Hannah. In charge of distributing the searcher's licenses are really pissed at him because they think he's lying about sensing Pan and all that stuff. So he's in trouble for that. Anyway, so then they receive a quest. This is Icarus's father. Thank you for rejogging my memory. Oh no. Who is Icarus's father? It is Daedalus. Okay, cool. I just had to double check. Mocha got stuff on him. Oh no. Oh no. The sun. Yes, the sun. I lost the link. Good. Anyways, so, Daedalus... Why? Why? What is... Annabeth receives a... The son is Icarus's father. Oh my goodness. So, I would have thought Kronos was his dad. No. Icarus's dad is Daedalus. My wrist fucking hurts like a bitch. Oh my god. Okay. Annabeth receives a quest and she wants to... I believe she wants to find Daedalus because he's the creator of the maze. Wait. I don't remember why I put a photo of Daedalus in here. We'll find out later. Anyways, she also needs the string of Ariadne because that is an unbreakable string that'll help you find your way through the maze because it's ever changing. And also she asks Percy, Grover, and Tyson to come on the quest, which is unusual because you usually only have 3 people go on a quest, but she wants all 4 of them. The king put the maze designer in the maze and the wingies to get out. Ah, yeah. Thank you, Maya. I appreciate that. Anyways, so, Annabeth receives a quest. You shall delve in the darkness of the endless maze. The dead, the traitor, and the lost one raise. You shall rise or fall by the ghost king's hand. The child of Athena's final stand. Destroy with the hero's final breath. And lose a love to worse than death. And then there's a redacted line. Wait a second. No! This is the line that's redacted. Why did I reveal it? Ugh, I have no sense for drama. We talking about Maze Runner? Yeah. Spoilers! I know, right? I'm disappointed in myself. Whatever. Anyways, Percy also has a dream about Nico talking to this weird ghost guy. Relevant later. I am really disappointed in myself. Well, she hides this message from Percy, but he sort of figures it has something to do with breath, because breath, death, you know, yeah. Anyways, I forgot about this meme. Okay, so in the labyrinth, there's a lot of shenanigans that ensue, obviously. One of which being that they meet Briares, which is a guy with 100 hands, and he's like in jail, and he wants to stay in jail because he's scared. And Percy's like, you have to come help us if I win at rock, paper, scissors. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll take you on because there's no way I lose at rock, paper, scissors because I have 100 hands. And then, When your breath is so bad it kills. What happened? High five master. Hang on. Oh, you're right, he is. And then Percy, instead of doing rock, paper, scissors, he does gun. And he's like, I win. Isn't this a good meme? Anyways, so then Briareus has to come out of jail. There's also a little moment where Annabeth has a very prideful moment with the Sphinx where she hosts, so like, Sphinxes traditionally give like riddles that are very difficult to figure out and then you die if you don't solve them. But she has modernized with the times. Breath and death. Oh, oh my bad. Percy got no chill around paper scissors. Yeah, he's fucking, he's real. He's like a lovable, snarky, sarcastic, dumb, but also ridiculously smart kid. Anyways, so the Sphinx has modernized and it has turned into a game show where it's like trivia, where it's like, what's the capital? Blah, blah, blah. And Annabeth is like pissed off. She's like, I know all these answers, but fuck you. Like, they should be harder. And the Sphinx is like, what the fuck? Anyways, they get in a fight and they obviously win. And then there's also Janus, which is a god of choices, or like perhaps like, yeah, choices basically. So he's got two faces and it's like you have to choose one or the other, right? And he's like about to offer like a really difficult, so many words, so sorry, choice to, I believe, Annabeth. And then Hera is like, fuck you, it's not her time, go away. And then Hera is like, here, I'll help you. And Annabeth is like, fuck you, Hera. And she's like, what the fuck? Anyways, then we move on. They accidentally, the Sphinx is just trying to do his job. Oh my goodness. I don't remember why, but they exit the labyrinth. There's a god of cereal. Yeah, like grains and stuff, right? So they exit and they show up at this ranch with this guy who's got like 3 torsos, and his name is Geryon, I believe. And so Percy has to fight him. And also at the ranch, they have these flesh-eating horses, and they are swimming in their own shit. And so Percy is like, I need to know where Hephaestus is. Sounds like oh my god. Anyways, so he's like, yeah, the only look at me, I'm chilling now. So he's like, yeah, the only way I'll tell you where Hephaestus is if you fucking clean out this horse shit filled pen. And Percy's like, well, this is fucking hard, because the way that Hercules did it, it was actually one of his trials, because Hercules had like 12 labors to fulfill for Hera back in the day. But posture check. So Percy's like, so the way that Hercules did it was he washed all of the horse shit into this river, and there's a river nymph in there who is like, don't you fucking dare. The last time that little bitch did it, my river turned into fucking toxic waste for like the next century. Ceres, yes sir. And then so Percy was like, alright, I won't fucking do that to you because I respect you. Anyways, so he figures out a different way to do it where he basically, there's a ton of little remnants of seashells within the dirt underneath the pile of shit that he can just sort of sense the ocean in. And so he calls ocean water from those little fragments, and then he washes all the shit away. Wow. He completed an impossible task and thus finds out where Hephaestus is. And also more shenanigans, more fights. They make it out. They go to Hephaestus where he's like, okay, fine, I'll tell you where to find Daedalus. If you clean out my old mountain forge, there is a bunch of monsters in there they took over. And so then Grover and Tyson on their way to the forge, they actually realize that they sense Pan in a certain direction. And so they have to split up. And so Grover and Tyson go off on their own way to find Pan. And in the meantime, Percy and Annabeth go to this forge. And it's in the forge. Oh my God, I'm about to cry. Okay. So in the forge, there's a lot of little monsters that they sort of have to somehow get rid of. And Percy and Annabeth have their first kiss. I don't remember exactly the circumstances why, but they kiss, and it's like a goodbye kiss because she like runs away, and then Percy accidentally gets fucking exploded into fucking God knows where, and he lands on this remote island where he meets this girl named Calypso. And basically, let me explain this to you. I'm gonna switch to this because, oh my God. Okay, so Calypso is the daughter of Atlas. Yes, I believe so. So she supported her father during the Titan War against the gods, like the OG war. And so what happened was, for that, she was punished to spend an eternity. Is this linked to the Pirates movies? No, I'm sorry. This does, however, also link to the next series, which I'll be presenting on Saturday, so pay fucking attention! This is actually so important. This is... I will cry. Okay, so Calypso is cursed to stay on this island. And... Why, right? And basically, her curse... She's immortal. So her curse is that every once in a while, a hero will fall out of the sky somehow, land on her island, and she's cursed to fall in love with him. And as soon as she falls in love with him, what happens is there is a magical boat that will come and take the hero away, not by force, but because the heroes have to leave. They always have some important mission that they have to go on, so they can't stay on the island forever with Calypso, even though it's literally like a perfect little paradise. She has invisible servants that help like serve her food and cook and help her clean her clothes and everything. And so Percy gets knocked the fuck out. Is she the one who marries her stepson? Are you talking about Oedipus? The motherfucker? No Davy Jones. No. This is a different Calypso. There's a lot of incest. Basically, so Percy gets blasted out of the sky, lands on her island, and she cares for him for a really long time. Sort of recuperates him because he nearly fucking died, you know, getting exploded and all that. And so she's like, you know, changing his towel, she's feeding him food, and then he finally wakes up and he's like, oh my God, where am I? How long have I been here? Blah, 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 all these things. And sort of gets to know Calypso, and he's like obviously very stressed. And then she falls in love with him, and then the boat comes. And the boat is like his way off the island, and then she's in the body of a 16-year-old. Yes, I know she's immortal, but it's fine. No way, guys. You guys are turning a really sweet, bittersweet story into something bad. No. Ooh, okay. The boat comes, which means that Calypso has fallen in love with... You guys! She's fallen in love with Percy. And she's like, I know you have to leave, but I'm still going to offer you this. You can stay on this island forever. You will never age. We can just spend the rest of our days in peace. We can be happy. We can, you know, have invisible servants for the rest of our lives. And it's like, oh my God. And it's so fucking sad because at the end of that chapter, Percy has to leave, and he gets on the ship, and he's like, I'm really sorry I have to go. And Hephaestus, like, is there on the ship, and he's like, yo, kid, you know, time has passed, like 2 weeks or some shit have passed in the real world. And as he's riding the boat and he leaves, the last line of that chapter is, she will always be my greatest what if. Like, guys, Is that not so sad? She will always be my greatest what if. I will always think about what would have happened if I just stayed on that island with her. Oh my god! Anime cheated Lenny! How are you? Hi! He's fit. You guys. Hi, how are you? Can't he come back? The curse is that you will never be able to find the island a second time. How are you? I'm presenting about Percy Jackson right now. I'm glad you're doing great. I'm glad you're doing great. I'm guessing everyone calls you Sushi, so I will now also call you Sushi. Can't he tie a string to it? Oh my goodness. You guys are something else. Anyways, so sad. We move on. So Rachel turns out, because she's able to see, I wasn't following another cool person. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you for following. I appreciate you. I don't even want to tell the rest of the story. I'm sad. Basically, what happens is Rachel can see through the mist, so she can very obviously see a clear path through the labyrinth. And also, it turns out that she's really famous and rich. And then, the fucking sword teacher is actually Daedalus, and he's actually in an automaton body. That's how he's stayed immortal for so long, and so he's cheated death. And he also, this is fun to listen to. Oh my goodness, thank you. And he also helped Luke find a way through the labyrinth, because they needed the labyrinth in order to find a way into Camp Half-Blood. And also at the same time, Nico and this guy who, this little ghost he's been talking to, I think his name is Lair. No, I don't remember. But he's this ghost king, and basically he was helping Nico find a way to bring back his sister, but it actually turned out to be a way to actually bring him back from the dead. So he was betrayed, blah, 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 blah. Shenanigans, they escaped the labyrinth. Then it fucking turns out that the way that the Kronos' body has been slowly collecting in a sarcophagus is actually so that then he can turn in, he possesses Luke. He possesses Luke. Luke is now Kronos, right? And it's like, oh my god, what a crisis. Anyways, and then also Pan fucking dies because of, you know, something along the lines of global warming and, like, you know, not respecting the wilderness. And so, like, the god of the wild, there's not enough wild places left and blah, blah, blah. All these things, right? And so then there's a big fight because Luke and Kronos end up, like, they find a way into the camp through the labyrinth entrance, and then the only way for them to close off the labyrinth is for Daedalus to die, because his life essence is connected to the existence of the labyrinth. So when he dies, then he is able to, you know, help save Camp Half-Blood, at least for that moment. Grover also gains this ability from Pan in being there for his death called Panic. Haha, get it? Because Pan. And so he can cause a panic in the enemies and blah, blah, they freak out. Anyways, and then also Percy receives a gift of a sand dollar from his father at the end of this book. And that's the end of that. And then we go to book 5, The Last Olympian. So we start off with yet another very, very sad moment. We have Beckendorf, Charles Beckendorf. His death, oh shit. I spoiled it. So he was dating this girl named Selena Beauregard, and they had both just started college, and it was really fucking sweet. So he was the son of Hephaestus, she's the daughter of Aphrodite, and it was really fucking sad because he fucking died trying to sabotage the fucking ship, the cruise ship that Kronos is sort of operating from. And the only way that they could have possibly found out about this plan to blow up the ship is that there is some sort of spy at the camp. And so Charles dies in this ship explosion. Very unfortunate. Percy survives. Very sad. And then His death is relevant in the next series, if only just a little bit, but, you know, maybe remember that if you want to. Anyways, then the big prophecy, which has been hidden from Percy for the entirety of the series, is finally revealed word for word. A half-blood of the eldest gods shall reach 16 against all odds, and see the world in endless sleep. The hero's soul cursed blade shall reap. A single choice shall end his days, Olympus to preserve or raise. Okay, so a lot of shit happens. Ares is feeling upset because they were slighted in some spoils of war. And Nico tells... I don't remember why I put a photo of the Oracle of Delphi in here, but Nico... Nico brings Percy to visit Luke's mom to get some information. And then I couldn't finish the rest of the PowerPoint. So we're gonna switch over really quick to this one, where I basically, in a very short paragraph, explain that the reason that Percy and Nico go see Luke's mother is to... This is not a spoiler! What do you mean? This is entirely a recap of everything that I have just presented in the past, like, fucking, like, 2.5 hours or something. Basically, the reason is because Luke needed his mother's blessing in order to be dipped into the river Styx, which is it's the same thing that Achilles did. So when you do that, you're impervious everywhere except for where you were dipped, and that's your immortal point where if you're hit, you die. So Achilles heel, you know. And so the reason they did that is because then they found out that Luke had to make his body impervious so that he could be a good vessel for Kronos, right? And then Percy is like, well, I have to do that too in order to basically be able to match against fighting Luke / Kronos. And so then he makes his weak point like right on the small of his back. And then they basically have a really big fight in New York where because they're trying to protect the Empire State Building, because the top of that is where Mount Olympus is, and there's a lot of minor gods who've defected over to the Titan side because they're tired of being ignored by the major gods. On his back, yes. The logic was that it was protected by armor and that it would be relatively easy to defend. Avatar slammed in. Yo, you ain't wrong though. But so they have a big battle, and one of the minor gods who defected over was Morpheus, who's the god of sleep. And so he puts the entire city of New York, or the entire city of New York City, to sleep. So if we reference back this prophecy, it is that see the world in endless sleep. So that's that. And then basically the fight progresses. It's like actually a massive battle. Oh, and also there's a really tragic moment about the Mamonus. I'm so sorry, Hannah. I'm so sorry. It's because Hannah doesn't have a chance at dating Jason Momoa now. Anyways, there's this really sad moment where, let's go back really quick. Selena Beauregard is, so y'all know how there was like this little garage that the Ares cabin had? They refused to participate in the Battle of New York. And so Selena Beauregard disguised herself as Clarisse in order to bring those campers into the battle, because otherwise they were just sort of sitting while the rest of them were dying. I'm adding him to the PowerPoint. Let's go. I love this so much. What is this? I hope you know that I'm going to reference this stream in my PowerPoint. Oh my god, let's go. Somebody save this VOD. Put it on YouTube. I don't fucking know, dude. Someone show this to Rick Riordan. This stream, you talking about this? Oh my god. You guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. So Selena Beauregard is disguised as Clarisse, and it's really fucking sad because there's this monster that they have to fight that can only be killed by a child of Ares, and she's being really brave and trying to fight it even though she's just a little baby and she's a daughter of Aphrodite, and this whole time and then she fucking is about to die, and then she dies in Clarissa's arms, who was like her best fucking friend. And then it's revealed that Selena Beauregard was the fucking spy that like revealed, you know, like the plan to explode this shit. Oi, oi, oi. And not only that, but also the plan to there were some earlier plans, like including like the location of like I don't know, maybe the entrance to Labyrinth, I don't remember. But basically she was a spy for Luke. So, in a way, she actually got her boyfriend killed. So fucking tragic, because she regretted that every second of the rest of her life, which was very fucking short, because what she did was she sacrificed herself for everybody else. Reminds me of that Bakugo audio. Oh my god. And so she fucking dies, and it's really fucking sad. And everyone agrees not to fucking talk shit about her being a traitor slash spy, because she died honorably. Next, in Mount Olympus, because the battle sort of progresses where the enemy contracts towards the Empire State Building, and then a bunch of them go up, and so they're all sort of fighting up there. Percy is fighting with Luke, and they're fighting, and they're both invulnerable, and blah 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 blah, you know, all these things. And then oh my god. I'm so distracted right now. He just keeps saying Ma Deku. Anyways, okay, so let's take a look at the prophecy again. Hello? Morgan! I'm loving this so much. Thank you, Sushi. I appreciate you. The hero's soul cursed blade shall reap. A single choice shall end his days. Okay, so Percy was sort of under the impression this entire time that it was him who was... Thank you, Elise. Who was supposed to kill Kronos and kill Luke, but it ends up being that Luke has a split second of clarity where he's free from Kronos' control, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I regret all of this, and he stabs himself because he knows exactly where his weak point is, which is, I think, somewhere in his ribcage. He kills himself. He steals Percy. Percy only gets a fucking assist. Anyways, so then they win the battle because Kronos is fucking dead. Yeah, it's like Percy did fucking 140 to the head because he was dumb enough to buy a Phantom, and then Luke was like, ooh, I'm gonna throw a nade at myself. Anyways. Anyways, and then what happens is, now that the whole ordeal is over, and, you know, Percy basically, more or less, was responsible for saving all of the gods. Also, at some point, he uses a sand dollar. You know, none of these details really matter at this point. So basically what happens is that Percy negotiates a massive deal with the gods, because what they did is they offered him immortality. I'm gonna switch to this because there's no point in images for now. So basically, it's like Hercules. I don't know if you guys know this, but Hercules, after completing like his 12 trials of labor or whatever, it was offered immortality to become a sort of minor god, right? And so that was like the whole thing, and it's like a very big honor, you know, to sort of live forever as a minor god and be worshipped and all these things. And so they offer that to Percy as like a thank you. And Percy says, fuck you, I don't want that, because I'm in love with Annabeth. I don't want to be immortal. Oh my god, so cute. But also what he does instead is he negotiates a new deal where he is like, all the minor gods deserve more recognition, so that includes building a lot more a lot more cabins at Camp Half-Blood for all of the minor gods because they felt slighted. So that's why they defected over to the Titan side. Another part of the deal was that all of the gods had to claim their children by the wow, that is a massive wall of text. So another part of the deal was that all of the gods had to claim their children by the time they were 13 because it makes it easier. It also makes it so that there aren't a bunch of forgotten children that end up in the Hermes cabin, which was something that Luke and a lot of the other demigod children who are sort of forgotten and left to the side were, you know, upset about. There were a lot of other characters I didn't mention, but they were like children of minor gods. Like one was a child of Nemesis, who's the goddess of like revenge and justice, kind of. And so like he just felt really slighted, blah, blah, all these things, right? And so it was like all that. And then Percy also negotiated for the release of Calypso from her prison island. How sweet. Anyways, and then it is also revealed towards the end of the series. Oh, by the way, I completely forgot to mention that Rachel and Percy had a tiny little romance just for like a second. But then it's revealed that Rachel is actually the new Oracle. Oh my god, I forgot to mention this. Okay, so Luke's mom is like fucking insane. And the reason for that is because there is a curse on the Oracle of Delphi. Which is why the Oracle resides in this really disgusting mummified body. It's because... I don't remember exactly what, but the many years ago, the person, it's related to Hades in like the 1940s. I don't remember. Fuck, whatever. So basically there was a curse that the Oracle, the spirit of the Oracle of Delphi would never be able to pass on to another mortal. So Luke's mother was very similar to Rachel in that she could see through the mist, and she was just like very like aware of like a lot of things, and she was also really intelligent and blah blah all these things. And so she was like, yeah, I can do it. I'll try to take on the spirit of the Oracle of Delphi so that it's no longer inside this mummified like body. And then she goes fucking insane and it like breaks her, and it's really fucking sad to see. And Luke was really young when it happened. I'm living for this rant. Thank you, Cal. And so Luke is like really fucked up by that too. Another reason why he defects over to Kronos. But he basically like she's like, yeah, she's just insane, and so that's why it's really scary for Rachel to become the new Oracle. But there's something about the curse being broken. I don't remember why or how, but you know, whatever. Basically, Rachel becomes the new Oracle, and so she's more or less her regular self until a prophecy needs to be given. And then it is at that point that she becomes possessed by the spirit for a bit and her eyes glow green or whatever. Yeah, okay. Anyways, it is indeed all thanks to Rai. So that's sort of the end of that story, except for one last part, which I did manage to put into the PowerPoint if you guys were wondering. It is the fucking underwater kiss that Percy and Annabeth have. So at the very end of the series, 5 books of pining and love and just they're looking at each other and you want them to kiss so bad, and you can tell that they just like each other, but you like, oh, you know. And then what happens is like they have like this moment, because in Camp Half-Blood there's a river. They have this moment and then everybody's being really loud and distracting, so what Percy does is he brings her underwater, encapsulates her in a bubble of air, and then they fucking kiss! Oh, and it's so fucking cute. Are you serious, Elise? Oh my god. Ow! It is so cute. It is so cute. They're literally so fucking adorable. Anyways, and then I made this slide to commemorate that Percy and Annabeth finally got together. I literally love them together so much. There's so much fan art of them. It is so fucking cute. Not as cute as PETA. Maybe This is like the one couple that I'm like obsessed with from literary. Peter Malark, oh my god. Listen, I love PETA, right? But I also love Percy and Annabeth. That's all I have to say on the matter. I'd say they're on par with each other. Guys, this was a bad idea because now I really want to present the next series. Oh, I was in love with Josh Hutcherson. Oh my god, Hannah. Yeah, aren't they so cute together? They've literally been through so much together. Also, I never mentioned this during the PowerPoint, but she calls him Seaweed Brain, and he calls her Wise Girl. They're so cute. I could do a full PowerPoint on him from memory. Oh my god. Guys, stop me. Stop me. Stop me before I keep going.